Welcome to another edition of Culinary Concepts with Martin Brothers. I'm Chef Steve Tizzy, and today we're going to be making a sweet potato breakfast quiche. So let's get started. For some of the basic ingredients that we're going to be putting into our sweet potato breakfast quiche are going to be the basic American potato pearls. This is a wonderful and simple product for everyone to use. Of course, we have milk. We're going to have Sunny Fresh liquid eggs, another way to utilize some of your liquid eggs. The nice pie crust that I have pre-baked. I have just got a nice golden brown on that. Of course, blue cheese. These are just a couple ingredients I'm going to add in that'll be nice. The flour is going to go in to help tighten it up, but the blue cheese crumbles, sweet red onions, and now we're going to get to the farmland, a thick cut smoked bacon that we're going to cook off ahead of time. So we're going to start by just getting the bacon and the onions cooked together, but I'm going to cut this bacon down just a little bit more for a smaller dice. So we're going to get ready to cook those together. So as you can see, this is going to cook with the onions. We're going to get a phenomenal flavor. In fact, and I'll tell you, we're not even going to drain any of the bacon grease because we're talking some great flavor between the sweet potatoes, having some of the bacon grease come into this dish. It's going to be a very rich, wonderful sweet potato quiche. So let's get ready to move over to the burners and start cooking. We're going to let that cook down for a little while to get some nice crispiness on that. Let that saute, and as that sautés, then we're going to add our onions. What I did was went ahead and julienned. I sliced the onions. We're going to do a dice on the bacon because I want the flavor, the bacon to spread out more within the quiche. The onions, I did just a nice thin slice because that's going to give us much more coverage. We're going to get a lot more flavor. We're going to get a lot more nice color throughout the quiche. So that's why we wanted to leave those onions as a slice instead of a dice. Okay. All right, now that we're getting our bacon, we're going to start getting some brown on our bacon here, as you can kind of see. We're going to go ahead and add our onions in because we want to get a nice caramelization on our onions also. So I'll tell you, this is going to be the flavor. I'll tell you, let's get this mixed around here. All right, so let's move over. While this is cooking, we're going to move back over to our potato mixture. We're going to get our eggs going. We're going to get our flour and our potatoes mixed together and get that prep ready to go. Now that we're ready to mix our ingredients into the potatoes themselves while our bacon and our onions are frying off, we're going to start out. Here I have 2 cups of the basic American mashed potatoes. So I've got that ready. And I've got a half a cup of flour. I've got 1 cup of milk. I've got 3 eggs. Okay, this is going to be our nice liquid eggs here. That's going to work out very well. And this is what we're going to start mixing together. So we're going to mix this well together, and then we're going to add our blue cheese crumbles in, we're going to add our bacon and onions in, and then we're going to go ahead and add them into our pie shell. Now I have the oven already at 400 degrees, so we're going to start this in the oven at 400 degrees for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to turn the oven down to about 325 for about a half hour. So we're just going to get this well mixed. I like to kind of leave it so we do have some of the chunks in there of the potatoes. So we have this ready to go. Look at all that blue cheese. I'll tell you, for people that are blue cheese lovers, they're going to love this. It's going to be a very nice, rich flavor to go with the sweet potatoes. All right, so now we're ready to get our bacon and onions. Let's move over and check our bacon and onions. Oh, look at this. Look at how brown our bacon's looking. Our onions are starting to caramelize. I'll tell you what, this is looking good. Now you see all this bacon grease in here. You know, I don't even dump that out. I'll tell you, I like the full, rich effect. Now, if you would like it a little bit more on the healthier side as a healthier alternative, by all means, drain the bacon grease out. So let's move over and start adding this in too. All right, now what I have in here we're going to add in is just right about a cup of a julienne red onion and right about probably 6 ounces of that farmland thick cut smoked bacon. So we're going to get this in. I'll tell you, for today I'm going to drain out some of the bacon grease. I know we like to be a little bit more health conscious. All right, look at that nice mix. I'll tell you what, a combination of sweet potatoes, blue cheese, bacon, and onions. How much better could this get? So let's get ready. Now we're going to come into the pie crust. As you will notice, I have pre-baked the pie crust off. I put the holes in there to keep a lot of the air bubbles out. So I've got a nice crust on the bottom, and that's actually going to be more just to help it so it cooks fully on the bottom and you don't get that soggy crust. A lot of people like to put them in unbaked and they get a soggy crust because it's at too low of an oven temperature, and it also needs to be pre-baked somewhat, partially baked, as we like to say. Now we have a nice full quiche here, so we'll let the remainder over the side. Now we're going to get ready to go into the oven. You're going to see a step with this as I go into the oven that we just discussed in terms of the pie crust, how to make sure it's fully baked, you don't have a soggy pie crust. As we come down into the oven, you're going to notice I have my empty sheet tray. Okay, this sheet tray has been in the oven at 400 degrees. It is preheated. The purpose of that is when we set that quiche onto that hot sheet tray, immediately it's going to help to start cook that bottom of the crust. All right, now let's look at our quiche. I'll tell you what, look at this beautiful quiche. We are coming out of the oven now. We have given it right about at a half hour at 325. As you'll notice, we've got a nice firmness to the feel on this. It looks gorgeous, a nice golden brown. So now we're gonna get ready to cut this. Normally we're gonna let this set. We wanna kind of bring it at a room temperature to let it set up a little bit more. With this, and it's going to be, when we cut it, it's not going to fall apart because we do want a nice firmness to this as well. So let's go ahead. We're going to just try and cut a nice little wedge, a nice little slice out of this. And I'll tell you, a sharp knife is going to work wonderful to cut this, to keep it from breaking apart, to keep your crust from breaking apart, and to make sure you cut all the way through this. And I'm just going to go ahead and dig in here with the knife. We're going to get that wedge out. You always, of course, you want to hope that wedge comes out nice and clean as we get into it. Oh, look at that. Look at that beautiful sweet potato breakfast quiche. Now, we're not done yet. Nice little slice of a cornbread. I have a cranberry cornbread to finish this plate off. We just want to kind of just a nice little taste here, a nice little wedge that we're going to do on a dried cranberry cornbread there. And here you have a sweet potato breakfast quiche with the bacon, the sweet red onions, the blue cheese, a wonderful, just tasty, hearty dish. It's great for the winter time, and a nice cornbread slice to go with it. Let's talk about what we made today. A sweet potato breakfast quiche. Basic American sweet potatoes work wonderful for this dish. We used the Sunny Fresh liquid eggs. That was a great alternative to the fresh eggs, and we have a nice breakfast dish everyone is sure to love. Thanks for watching this episode of Culinary Concepts. I am Chef Steve Tizzy, and I look forward to seeing you next time. We hope you enjoyed our cooking tips, techniques, and recipes here at Martin Brothers. For any questions and additional recipes, visit martinsnet.com.